What is up, Race of Freedom? My name is Justin Crosscarry. So just for a show of hands, who in here takes the Ukon? Yes. Let's go. Now, raise your hand if you have the water, but you don't take the Ukon. Okay, so this story is for you guys. So 2018, I had my machine for 4 years, thanks to this tall guy who's been talking all weekend. And in 2018, I was working at my job and I was doing installs. And about 6 hours into it, I couldn't lift up my neck. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it looked like, I ended up injuring myself, but I had a 17 millimeter disc herniation. So it came out the back and it was going forward like this and then down. So if I was talking to you, I would have to talk to you like this. Colton's probably the only one that remembers this, and Pris. And so this is how I'd have conversations and going, shopping or anything like that. 10 out of 10 pain, couldn't sleep, couldn't lay down, couldn't sit up, nothing was working. This happened on the job, so workers' comp didn't want to pay for an MRI. But for about 4 months, my index finger and my thumb were completely numb. So after 4 months of seeing a doctor, chiropractor, acupuncture, different things I was doing, I was like, hey, I should probably get an MRI. So 4 months later, we did the MRI, and that's when we found out it was a 17 millimeter disc herniation. If you know anything about disc herniations, that's absolutely massive. My chiropractor actually didn't believe it until he saw the paperwork. And so I was struggling with neck pain. I didn't really want to take any medication. I'm just not about that. But at 10 out of 10 pain, I had to do something. I was driving up from San Diego to Orange County with a buddy who had the Ukon. So I was like, let me try this, because at the time I was like, oh, I got the water, I'm good, I'm young, I don't need the Ukon, right? And so about 20 minutes into the ride, 4 months of not being able to lift up my head, I hit my buddy who's driving. I go, dude, check this out. And I look up, down, left, right. And mind you, I've only broken my thumb, and they wanted to fuse my C6, C7. So how they do that, they actually go through your throat and then fuse your vertebrae together. The problem with that is it puts pressure on the top and the bottom, and being 28 at the time, it's just gonna have to be redone over and over again. So didn't have to get surgery, can move my neck totally fine, as you guys can see. So for all of those of you that raised your hands and you're drinking the water and not on the Ukon, get on it. We got the antioxidants with the water, you want the anti-inflammatory with the Ukon, and yeah, that's my story.
That's why we say, you guys, it's the true trifecta of health. You have the water machine, you have the Ukon, which is the herbaceutical turmeric, and then you have the Anespa, which is the mineral ion shower, the only one. So trifecta isn't just a business strategy, it's a strategy for your health. So thank you, Justin. Love to hear your testimony.
Okay, so my name is Ryan Jones. In January of 2022, I'm 37 years old now, by the way. In January 2022, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The way it happened is it started just like every other morning. I went into work, I build restaurants, I also work on multifamily. But long story short, we were starting a job that morning, and I went in, I could feel it on my right-hand side, my lower abdomen, and it started to hurt really, really bad, really, really quickly. And so I decided to drive myself to the hospital. At that time, it was Redlands Hospital. We were working in the Inland Empire, so it was Redlands Hospital, Redlands Community Hospital, the greatest hospital ever. You'll hear why. So after waiting 13 hours in the emergency room on a day that was their worst COVID day ever, 5 code blues and a bunch of other things happened. I finally was admitted after 13 hours in the emergency room. Luckily, I signed a paper they gave me saying that if I had any previous injury to the stomach or previous issues, and if they found anything in there that they can surgically work on it or take it out. Smartest thing I ever did in my life. When Dr. Yo went in and started to take out my appendix, he noticed that there was cancer spread everywhere. My appendix had exploded and spread cancer through my entire body. It metastasized to every single organ except for my heart and my brain. At that point, basically the only option was to go into chemo. They told me it was terminal and that I would not live. There's no chance of remission. There's no chance of anything because I was stage 4. Not only that, I had Lynch syndrome, which was a genetic modification. Okay, so at that point I go straight into surgery. I come out, I hear that I have cancer. I have 5 years or less to live. I was extremely healthy. I ran every day. I'm an avid hiker. I hike my family every day, every night. It's insane. So all of a sudden I have stage 4 cancer. I'm 36 years old. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. That night when I got diagnosed, I'm laying in the bed and I'm talking to God, and for the first time ever I told God something, instead of him telling me, and I said, you're gonna have to rip my soul from my body because I'm not leaving, man. I have a lot more to do on this earth. I have kids, I cannot go anywhere, you know what I mean? And I decided I wasn't gonna give up, so I was gonna try everything it took, every single thing it took, every single thing you've ever heard or read in the internet and on cancer, anybody's stories. I tried it, I did it. I'm still doing a lot of it. But I'm going to tell you a miraculous story about this water. So I was a year into it. I had already stopped chemotherapy about 6 months into it. I'd had the port taken out of my chest. God was telling me immunotherapy. I had tests against my tumors done, and they had showed 3 genetic markers, which anybody knows anything about genetic markers, it was very rare. So I decided to trust in the immunotherapy, and I went for it. I pulled the port out of my chest. I hated that thing. It was the worst thing ever. I think they're having suits over it now. It was painful. It was nasty. But I was at the point where I had nothing left, and my scans were getting worse and worse. My cancer was actually spreading at that point to the bones in my back. And so it had metastasized the furthest it could into my bones from my prostate. It was looking really bleak at that point, so I went really all out. I had no money at the time because I was already fighting cancer. I had no money at the time. But I found a way, and I got the machine, and I actually got it through John Johnson, who's my upstream. He's an amazing dude. I've actually never met him in person until today. We met 7 years ago online. We've been Facebook friends forever. But a year into it, he sold me mine, okay? And that was, a year and 9 months ago, this cancer journey started for me. So a year ago, he sold me the machine. I literally started getting better as far as scans, I would say 3 weeks to a month and a half after I got the machine. 9 months later, you guys, 3 weeks ago, I just rang the bell for no cancer.
Wow.
So, yeah. They told me it was impossible, and it was not. During that time, I started an organization called www.hike for a cure. We get cancer patients out into nature, because that's where I believe you heal the best, and that's where this water comes from. And I just want to thank Enagic and for saving my life, and John Johnson for being there for me when I needed the machine. I also have the Anespa, get that, because it doesn't allow any chemicals in your body, and if you want to get all those toxins out, you got to get the Anespa too, and you got to just, and I'm going to do the Ukon, but I couldn't until I was done with immunotherapy, and I just got done with immunotherapy a month ago, so.
Amazing.